Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. It's time, folks, it's time. It's the video you've all been waiting for. It's the 5th installment of the G.I. Joe Classified series, packaging Easter eggs. That's right, ladies and gents, one of my favourite games to play with the G.I. Joe Classified series line is to pore over the back of the packaging artwork, the digital renders, searching for those little Easter eggs, tipping the hat, and little references towards the comic books, the cartoons, the movies, whatever, all the many and varied G.I. Joe things we've had over the years. I've got another list now of, I don't know, a fair few. So let's get into it and let's take a look at some packaging Easter eggs and take a look at where the inspiration for those Easter eggs have come from. Let's get into it. And we're going to kick things off by taking a look back at a handful of Easter eggs that I missed, did not reference in previous installments from earlier releases. And we're going to kick things off with number 78 in the line, Tripwire here. That's right, folks, I'm going back a little bit. I missed a couple in some earlier installments, so I've got a handful here to share from the earlier numbers in the line. My thanks to eagle-eyed viewer Michael Aranda, who popped a comment in one of my previous installments to say, I think that's referencing this, and I think that's referencing that, and I'm very grateful for him pointing me in the right direction. But yeah, here we go, here's Tripwire. And as we can see from the image, Tripwire is clearly making his way into a cave, checking it for, tripwires and mines and whatnot. And on the wall, just behind him, you can see that there's a little kind of laser cannon sticking out of the cave side. And the cave setting, along with the laser on the wall, is making a reference to the Sunbow animated series episode, Slave of the Cobra Master. Let me show you the scene I'm talking about.
Something in there bothers Snake Eyes, Tripwire.
And I know better than to doubt Snake Eyes' sixth sense, Scarlet. A little sweep and scan couldn't hurt. But stay back! I don't pick up any lifeform readings. There's some funny blips on my scope, but they could be from radioactivity.
Then let's dig some crystals.
So there we are then, folks, a very clear reference then to that particular scene from that particular episode of the cartoon. Don't know how I missed it, but thank you to Michael Aranda. But Michael was not done because he also pointed out the hot dog cart in the background of Firefly. And that hot dog cart is a reference to G.I. Joe Special Missions issue 24. It's a comic book reference. In this story arc, which is called Ladies' Day, something like that, there's a presidential assassination attempt that Cobra are planning to make at a baseball game, and during the events of the issue, Firefly is disguised as a hot dog vendor, and not only is he disguised as a hot dog vendor, but he weaponizes the hot dogs as explosives to get in the mix on the assassination attempt. But fear not, folks, spoiler alert, G.I. Joe were onto them, and they had many G.I. Joe team members also in disguise awaiting to interrupt Cobra's nefarious scheme. So there you go, a comic book reference on the packaging. Oh, I bloody missed that one, I don't know. So with that little bit of housekeeping done and that handful of ones that I missed from earlier releases, let's now bring it more to the present day and look at some more recent G.I. Joe Classified series characters we have seen. And I'm going to kick things off with 160 in the line here, Slice and Dice. And eagle-eyed packaging enthusiasts will notice in the background, over their shoulders, we can see Snake Eyes balancing tenuously on the point of, I don't know, like a mini mountainy thing, or a massive anthill. I don't know, one or the other. And this, folks, of course, is a reference to the DIC animated series episode, The Sword, which features all three of those characters, Slice and Dice, and the version 4 Snake Eyes very prominently. Let's take a look at the scene I'm talking about.
Every now and then, even the greatest ninja in the world needs a little help from his friends. Don't you think?
I certainly do.
So obviously, very clearly, an Easter egg reference to that particular cartoon episode there. But that's not the extent of the Snake Eyes time we've got in this particular installment today, folks, because moving on to 161 in the line, which is the Snake Eyes and Polar Bear Mass Device theme set. Obviously, as a theme set, this is clearly referencing a Mass Device episode. And if you look very carefully, in the background, in all the kind of kicked up snow, we can see the old blind hermit from the episode Worms of Death, which of course is also the episode in which Snake Eyes and the purple hands and the polar bear stuff takes place, because of the old blind hermit that saves Snake Eyes after the battle with the polar bear. like scooting around in the background on his little sled with his huskies. Let's take a look at the scene I'm talking about.
Easy now, boy, steady. Whatever's disturbing you will have to wait. We're off. March! On your husky!
It's a Mass Device themed set. They obviously had to have a Mass Device related Easter egg in the background. But that's not the only one. Let's move on to 173 now, where we've got the Slaughter and Mercer 2-pack with Sergeant Slaughter in his kind of desert camo gear. We can see in the background here that their fight with the trouble bubbles is taking place in an area that's like an obstacle course training area type thing with a base in the background mounted in the kind of rock face of the mountain with a sign on the gate that says the Slaughterhouse. And folks, I'm sure you all already know, but this is clearly a reference to the Slaughterhouse that appeared in G.I. Joe the movie, of course, of which Sergeant Slaughter and Mercer were two very prominent characters in the whole kind of Falcon storyline. Let's take a look.
Sorry you missed breakfast, Falcon.
All right then, folks. Well, there's some Easter eggs from the packaging that I'm pretty certain, they're fairly clearly references to those particular events in the comic books or the cartoons. This next little stretch, though, is a little bit more guessworky, a little bit more speculative in nature, just kind of drawing some connections around the setting or the scenes that are depicted in the artwork there. So drop down to the comments below. Let me know. Do you think I've got these ones right? Am I way off the mark? Let me know. And I'm going to kick things off with 179 in the line Wetsuit here, where we can obviously see that he's in a little scene there. He's underwater. There's a shark kind of prowling around behind him. There's a shipwreck, an old kind of sunken galleon or something that he's having a swim around on. Now, I don't think this is a reference at all to the cartoon or the comic books, but I do think that it is a G.I. Joe Easter egg in there. I think this is a reference to the Hasbro Adventures of G.I. Joe Aquanaut, the scuba diver figure from, way back in the day. Now, with these Adventures of G.I. Joe figures from back in the day there, the 12-inch figures, they included what they described as, checks notes, an adventure packed comic book. And if we have a look at the cover of said adventure packed comic book that was included with the Aquanaut, we can see a little scene there on the cover where the scuba diver is swimming around next to a sunken kind of galleon, 16th century ship that had sunk with a shark hassling him. And I think we can draw some pretty clear connections from that digital renderer wetsuit on the back of his packaging to that. I think it might be a little cheeky Easter egg reference. If anyone gets an opportunity to ask anyone over at Hasbro for me, then find out and let me know whether you think I've pinned that down or not in the comments below. Next up, we're looking at two figures here. We've got 177 and 178 in the line, Sci-Fi and Mainframe, very recent releases. My man Bobby Dubs, the legend that is Bobby Dubs, who has an encyclopedic and also incredible, uncanny, almost computer-like ability to recall scenes and events from the Sunbow cartoon. He pointed out to me that the kind of buildings in the background and the settings of these images could very well be a little cheeky Easter egg reference. In particular, a cheeky Easter egg reference to a Sunbow era cartoon called the Cobrathon episode, which took place in Vegas or Atlantic City or somewhere. There was a whole kind of casino-y city type theme. I've grabbed a little quick clip from that episode so you can sort of see the background scenery during the cartoon for some sections of the events of that episode. Both Mainframe and Sci-Fi were prominent characters in the storyline of that particular episode, Sci-Fi in particular. And you tell me what you think in the comments down below. I think Bobby Dubs might be right, particularly in the background of Sci-Fi there, with this kind of computery thing that we can see as well, which references some other stuff that took place in the episode. Let's have a quick look at the clip.
Who are these guys?
Dreadnoks!
Yeah, keeping their eyes peeled for anything that might disturb the Cobrathon. All right!
Unless I miss my guess, Cobrathon is going on inside this hotel. Move it, men.
So there we go, folks. They don't name it in the episode as Vegas. Could be Reno. Who knows? But let me know if you think that those background settings for those digital renders on Mainframe and Sci-Fi could indeed be that kind of lit up, skyscrapered casino city of the West. That appears in the Cobrathon episode. Let me know in the comments down below. And while we're on the subject of sort of doing some best guess kind of work and examining the scenery, the background of digital renders on characters, let's look forward a little bit now to some upcoming releases. And I'm going to start with number 186 in the line, Lifeline. So in the background here, you can see he's clearly at the G.I. Joe base. He's out on the tarmac on the runway there. There's kind of obviously been some combat or some stuff going on. There's flames in the background. There's some baggage, like a little baggage truck kind of thing there. He's in his all red gear. However, I think this might be making a very subtle nod towards the episode, The $1 Million Medic, in which, of course, Lifeline was the central character. This was a Sunbow era cartoon. In that episode, Lifeline saves the life of a billionaire's daughter, and then she's like turning up and giving him loads of gifts and presents. But all the while, Cobra are trying to kidnap said billionaire's daughter for their own nefarious schemes. And in that episode, a big battle sequence takes place out on the tarmac, out on the runway, out the front of the G.I. Joe's base. Let's have a look at a quick clip to show you what I'm talking about.
Fall back to the airfield! I'll cover you!
We've got a full-scale air attack. Look out!
And another kind of best guess for you. This one could be a little bit tenuous, but it's an upcoming release. It's number 188 in the line, Hit and Run. And I think the fact that Hit and Run is sort of scaling a building in this scene rather than that sort of traditional kind of scaling the side of a mountain face or something, out in the wilderness or whatever. I think this might be a bit of a subtle nod towards a comic book issue, G.I. Joe Special Missions number 17. The name of the story that takes place in this issue is All in a Night's Work, and in that issue, a team of Joes are sent to solve a hostage crisis at a tech firm. And the workers at the tech firm are being held hostage. Turns out that they're being held hostage because Cobra are trying to steal a load of information from the computers or something. I should have reread it before I spoke on camera. But in any case, in that issue, Hit and Run's part of the team, and what a key element to the plan of saving the hostages is Hit and Run scaling the side of the building and going in through a second floor window to get a tactical advantage on the Cobra team that are holding them hostage. I've taken one clipping. It was very hard to find a nice image for this one, Googling about, but I found one clipping here of Hit and Run getting his freaking out, what's it called? The rope with the hook thing. Grapple. Gordon Bennett. Recording things when I'm tired all the time, forgetting words. Yeah, getting his grapple in order to scale the side of the building and go in through that second floor window. So I think this artwork of Hit and Run making his way down the side of a building in a kind of industrial sort of area is a reference to that. So there you go, folks. That's everything I've got for you in this 5th installment of the G.I. Joe Classified Packaging Easter Eggs video series that, I intermittently dip in and out of. Obviously, some of those were kind of best guessy, tenuous, linky type stuff. Let me know. I'll reiterate in the comments down below. Do you think me and Bobby Dubs have got some of our best guesses right there, or are we just looking for things that aren't even there? Who knows? You tell me what your thoughts are on that. And of course, just like Michael Aranda did, let me know if you think there's any I've missed from earlier installments things I didn't catch. Particularly at a time when they were doing it really heavily, putting loads of Easter eggs in. Also, just a quick side note, these videos quite often get demonetized. It's not like I'm doing this YouTube thing because it's a Megabucks, $1 million mega money scheme or anything, but I do rely on that ad revenue for things like funding some of the offline services and extra cloud storage and stuff that I use to make the videos, and also to pick up my janky Amazon action figure accessories to do reviews of. So if you can, please do, sling us a super chat or become a member for a short period of time, or at the very least, make sure that you're subscribed and you've hit the like button for this video to let me know that it was a winner. Because my Easter egg videos, because of the clip usage, is just sending money straight to the pocket of Hasbro. So know that you've paid Hasbro by watching this today. All right, well, thanks very much, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Be great to see you around these parts again for another video sometime soon. But in the meantime, I'll say have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. All right, take it easy.